Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're taking a comprehensive look at the newly updated 2026 Ram 1500 Warlock. Now this is a returning package that continues to offer one of the best value propositions in the full-size truck segment. And again, it was updated in 2025. It actually became a very attractive package in 2025, mainly because it came standard with the 3-liter twin-turbo Hurricane inline-6 standard output engine, which made 420 horsepower. And basically, when Tim Kuniskis came back, he lowered the price from $56,000 to about $50,000 with incentives. And a lot of people bought into this truck, mainly because it's a value-based pickup based on the Rebel. So picture a tradesman model with all the Rebel gear in that, but you get, basically a no-thrills truck. And again, it's a lot cheaper. It's like $10,000 to $12,000 cheaper than the Rebel. So for 2026, it's getting even better. And we're going to talk a little bit about that, but I want to kind of go through the history of this truck real quick. So we know how the Ram 1500 Classic basically introduced the Warlock package in 2019. In 2021, it was 2022 when it came out with an all-terrain package that added the Rebel wheels and stuff like that. And after that, the Warlock basically became an alternative, like a more budget-friendly, basic kind of alternative to the Rebel. So in 2023, we were kind of shocked at the very end of the model year. We started seeing the 5th generation trucks, the DT trucks, show up with this new Warlock package. And basically what it was a tradesman that had all the like Ram 1500 Rebel running gear. But you could get it with a Pentastar V6 or a Hemi V8. So it was a very appealing package. You look at the inside, again, no thrills, but whatever. If you're looking for a budget-friendly off-roader, and the Rebel's just too pricey for you, but you still want to have all that same, power under the hood. You want to have the same off-roading capability. You can go to this truck. So it made a lot of sense, and it slowly became more and more popular. So in 2024, it started picking up pace. And then in 2025, we actually got an update for the truck. And what made the update so interesting was if we go to the 2026 truck, again, it's basically the same thing as the 2025, but it got the new looks, so it got a standard LED headlamps, and then the reflective headlamps. It got standard LED fog lights. It does continue to have halogen tail lamps, which is very much a disappointment for Ram owners. We figured by now that, standard LED lighting would be on every Ram 1500 truck, but unfortunately it's not. You have to upgrade to an RHO or a limited or Longhorn or even tungsten model to get it now, where it used to be optional on the Bighorn and standard on the Laramie. Now it's totally different. But what this package did was it basically made it more in line with the Rebel. So basically, you couldn't get LED tail lamps on the Rebel anymore. You got standard LED headlamps just like the Rebel, the same exact units, the same fog lights. And then inside, basically what they gave you was a standard 8.4-inch screen. And it used to be just a little 5-inch screen with the knobs. Now you get an 8.4-inch screen. So basically on the Rebel, you get a 12-inch screen. You get a little more bells and whistles, but the Warlock is a very attractive package. So with that being said, I basically was very interested in what they were going to do for 2026. And when we were at the event in Auburn Hills, Tim Kuniskis basically said, hey, the Warlock is getting some new powertrains. So if you remember back a few months ago, this is in March, I was out at the Auburn Hills campus and I caught this. This was a Ram 1500 Warlock running with a Pentastar V6 engine. And what made it weird for 2025 was they got rid of the Hemi, but they also got rid of the Pentastar. So basically the Hurricane standard output engine was the standard engine across the board. You couldn't get a V6 anymore. So when I seen this truck out there, it stood out because it had e-torque badges and stuff, and it had a single exhaust out the back. So again, you can see how it's testing for emissions. It's got this kind of like bell housing with the little caps on the end. You might see these in spy photos all the time. This is just the emissions testing kind of deal. It has sensors in the exhaust and stuff. But anyways, nonetheless, they were testing this, so it meant that it was going to go back through and probably become a 2026 model. So again, that was in March. And then we went to the meeting in Auburn Hills, and it was kind of funny because Tim Kaniskis was talking, and they showed up on the board that they had already released the Warlock V6 like for the press, and they never had. So we broke the news. Ram actually gave us the exclusive for it. So we broke the news that the Pentastar V6 and the V8 was coming back. We did this earlier this month. And again, it was big news because, hey, it was going to lower the price of the Ram 1500 Warlock by somehow having the Pentastar under the hood. But again, if you wanted that Hemi power, you could go to it. So today, I posted this article on Mopar Insiders and 5th Gen Rams. Basically, we have the pricing for the truck. So mechanically, the Warlock mirrors much of what the Ram Rebels hardware is. It's got Bilstein shocks on all 4 corners, steel skid plates, a factory-installed 1-inch suspension lift, and then all is designed to enhance off-road, confidence straight from the factory. The truck is only offered as a crew cab 4x4 with a 5-foot 7-inch box, and this is the most popular configuration, but if you're looking at a Warlock, that's the only configuration you can get. It's the same as the Rebel. And, inside, again, we talked about, how it's back to basics. But inside, it's kind of neat because it has a standard 6-passenger configuration. So instead of having the center console up front, it's got a bench seat, which is really nice because you get to add an extra person in the middle. And what's cool about the bench seat, and I wish it was offered in more trims, is the fact that you can basically put the backrest down and use it as like an armrest, but it has cup holders, hidden storage, and then you can put it back up. And again, you can use it as a 6-passenger vehicle. So I wish that would go to more trucks, but that's just how it is. And then, of course, we talked about the 8.4-inch Uconnect 5 infotainment system. All Warlocks get a standard 7-inch digital instrument cluster. Basically, it's the old cluster from the Laramie. So you still have analog gauges, but in the middle you do have a 7-inch TFT screen, which is nice. Standard adaptive cruise control, standard lane keep assist, standard blind spot monitoring, select speed control. So if you're off-roading, you can basically set your, hill descent and stuff like that. And then, of course, it comes standard with remote start. So you do lose a couple things. You don't have an upper glove box, but big whoop. You do have the basic non-padded dash. It's just a rubber elephant skin kind of plastic. But again, for like $10,000 to $12,000 less, you're getting a lot of truck compared to what you're buying in the Rebel. So the funny thing is again, for 2026, there's been key updates for the truck. The first big key update is, again, the 3.6-liter Pentastar V6 with e-torque is back. Now, a lot of people complain about that engine, but you know what? It's still got 305 horsepower, 269 pound-feet of torque, and basically it changes the Warlock's base price from what Tim basically moved it to was $50,000 with incentives. Again, originally it was $56,000 when it started out in 2025. But now the base price is just $46,875 before destination charges. Now, destination has been increased a little bit over the years. Basically, it went from $2,000 or $1,995 to now it's $2,100. So basically, if you add $2,000 onto this, you're still paying about just under $49,000 for this truck, which is still a pretty good deal with the Pentastar V6. If we look at the pricing from 2023 on this article that I did, if we go down, again, the 2026 truck starts out at, $46,875. If we look here, the 2023 truck with the Pentastar was $48,440. So you figure, hey, we got adaptive cruise control standard, LED headlamp standard, 8.4-inch Uconnect system standard. We get a lot more standard features, but it's almost the same price. Now, the other thing to note is the 3-liter inline 6 is still available. You can get that as an option. And what Tim did for 2026 was he actually lowered the price of the Hurricane engine. So basically, you can go from Pentastar to Hurricane engine, and it's $1,695. That's $1,000 cheaper than what it was in 2025. And I'm not talking about the Warlock because it came standard with the Warlock in 2025. But if you look at the tradesman models, if you got a tradesman 4x4 off-road, you had the Pentastar V6 as standard. If you wanted the Hurricane engine, it was $2,695. So Tim basically cut $1,000 across the board for the standard output Hurricane engine for 2026, which is really cool. Again, that engine A lot of people don't like it because it's, small displacement, twin turbo, and it's got a lot of plastic on the engine, but that thing flies. It's got 420 horsepower and 469 pound-feet of torque. So if you're looking at it compared to the Pentastar V6, I mean, you're gaining 115 horsepower and 200 pound-feet of torque. So this thing's a monster. However, if you do want the Hemi V8, you can opt for it in 2026, which is really cool because I know a lot of people will. So if you actually look at the V8, it produces 395 horsepower. So like basically 25 horsepower less than the 3-liter, and 410 pound-feet of torque. So it's about 59 pound-feet of torque less. But if it basically you upgrade over to the Pentastar to V6 to get the Hemi, it's only $2,895. So again, $2,895 as an upgrade over the Pentastar V6. A lot of people were confused about the pricing about that, but if you go back again and look at 2023, I said right here in this article, I said, hey, if you want to take and add the Hemi with the e-torque system, which was standard, the same horsepower, same engine, it was $2,995, so almost $3,000. So basically, Tim cut $100 off of it, of what you would had to pay back in 2023. So yes, the Pentastar or the Hemi V8 is cheaper for 2026, even back to 2023 standards. And the best thing is, if you go and opt for the Hemi this year, it comes standard with the Mopar sport exhaust that was on the Rebel GT, so it sounds a lot throatier. So, and then again, because we get different engines, we also get different axle ratios and stuff like that. So what you can do is you can go on to 5th Gen Rams or Mopar Insiders, and I have a whole breakdown sheet of everything for pricing for this truck. So basically, if you look here, the package itself compared to the standard base truck is basically $4,690. That is standard across the board, but the truck starts out at $46,870 or $75. You got a $2,100 destination charge or $2,095. But you can look at how much the actual engine options are. And then again, you have different ratios. So basically with the Pentastar, you can get a 321 rear gear, you can get a 355 or a 392 if you want to match the Rebel. And then for colors, basically you get the same colors you did for 2025. However, there are additional colors coming, but they're going to be a late availability. Canyon Lake is an option, and it's $0. And I don't know if it's going to be specifically for the Warlock on it right now. I've been trying to contact some people, and I haven't heard if you can actually order it just yet on the Warlock, but it sounds like you can. Again, it's the Canyon Lake color is that green color that we talked about the other day. Bench seat, and you can see here what the GVW is. And then for options, the options aren't that bad. So if you look at for a towing package, $595, bed utility group, basically $945. The actual trailer tow group, so basically you get everything you need to set up for towing, $1,345. Anti-spin rear axle, $495. Engine block heater, trans brake controller, 33-gallon fuel tank. And now if you get the Hemi, you automatically get that 33-gallon fuel tank. It's standard with the Hemi. If you want tubular side steps, paint protection film, trailer camera, all that stuff, it's on here. So this truck still continues to be the best bang for the buck in its class, I believe. Honestly, I've been really impressed with how this truck has been set up as a package. And now we have the Express. So if you don't want a off-road truck, you can opt for the Express, which is going to be very similar in pricing. So the only difference is where the Express will be available in a quad cab, basically 6'4" box with 4x4 and 2-wheel drive options, as well as crew cab, 5'7", 6'4" box with both 2-wheel drive and 4-wheel drive. The Warlock is only available as a crew cab 5'7" box in 4x4 configuration. So keep that in mind. But anyways, if you want more information, go over to Mopar Insiders or 5th Gen Rams, read the whole article, and let me know what you think of the 2026 Ram 1500 Warlock. Do you think this is a better deal now that you get the Hemi back? It's cheaper than what it was in 2023 and 2024. You get the Pentastar now to lower the price down to the truck. So basically, you can get a Warlock now for under 50 grand without incentives, and we know that Ram is trying to do everything they can. So, like employee pricing and everything is still on the go. So hopefully people will get even a better deal with these trucks going forward. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Make sure to hit like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.